Hey, how you guys doing? Good afternoon, wherever you are. It's the KLA Cloud, the Wanda. We're about to give it to you once again. I have a guest. Her name is Janice Danielle. I'm
Denny.
sorry, I can't. Denny. I'm sorry. Forgive me, Janice Denny, and she's the creator of Kente Comics, and
Yeah.
she's gonna tell. Yeah, and she's gonna tell how she started it. Welcome. How you doing?
Well, I'm thank you. And I'm glad you're having me today. Thank you so much.
No
And
problem.
I'd like to thank all the viewers who are tuning in. And I'm Janice Denny, and I'm a writer
Yeah.
um, and publisher of my own line of comics. Uh, my company's name is Kente Comics.
Where you get that? Where does that come from? Kente Comics.
Well, I started my own publishing company in 2014 because I've been writing for a while, and the name of the company is Kente Publications. That's the real
Oh,
name of
Kente.
the company, and so
Okay.
I decided to start a comic book line, and so I made it like a part, a subset or a part of the Kente Publications, and I just called it. It's called an imprint, so I call it Kente Comics, and it's really
Okay.
part of Kente. It falls under Kente Publications.
Oh, okay. So, so you haven't been doing this that long with the comics, with the Firebird series. You just started like 2020.
Yeah, I started during the COVID situation. It was, oh my goodness, it was just so isolating,
Yeah.
and because you couldn't do anything, you couldn't go anywhere. So I said, let me do something constructive,
Oh,
and
okay.
And so, I've always liked to just make up stories and just, I've always had a good imagination. And so
Right.
I said, after I saw Black Panther and Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman,
Right.
that was what inspired me. I said, you
Mhm.
know what? I'm going to do this. I can write a comic book because I always wanted to write a comic, not a comic book, but a sci-fi story about people living on another planet. And, I wanted them to be African or Black people living on another planet.
Right.
Because, if we're living here, why couldn't we live on another planet too?
Yeah.
If we're living here on Earth, why can't we be on planet X or whatever? So I created my universe. It's called the Ursa universe. And I created my planets. I created a whole bunch of planets that are actually the names of the planets that are in the Ursa universe. And I named some of my characters. I created characters, and I named a lot of them after planets.
Mm.
Um, so that's what I did. I started out during, like I said, during the pandemic when I wanted to do something constructive and positive because it was just so horrible. You couldn't do
Yeah.
anything, couldn't go
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah. I mean,
And
no, I was just saying, like, during that time, it was very intense. It could be like a blessing and a curse with the pandemic, because I say that because, at the time I was trying to get my GED and stuff, and I finally got it. I had to take like online like courses and stuff, so I was able to get it because like before the pandemic, like it was called the task. It was like the test accessory program, something like that. They called it the task. And
mm,
this test it was changed like years before, and so it was really hard. So I don't know. I think when the pandemic came, they they was they was kind of, I guess the board of education was kind of being very lenient with people, because it was a rough situation at the time, and I was able to get like online classes, and I did it, and I got my diploma during that time. So
That's great. I think that's beautiful because
yeah,
that's a good time to do it. When
yeah,
you could do something positive. Like when you're presented with a situation, you could do something
yeah,
positive or negative. Why don't you do something positive? That was
right,
positive. That was a good thing.
yeah,
And that's why
right,
that's when I started writing. And like I said, I just created all my characters. And what I did is I made the whole series, uh, the Ursa Universe series, and it has a story about each character. The first character is Agent Eris. The second
HNRs. Okay.
character is uh,
Well,
Fire
I
Girl.
got like some pictures. Hold on. I
This
don't
is
know if that's
that's
who's
Star
this?
Angel. That's the one now. That's Star Angel now.
Oh,
That's the story
okay.
I'm working on now that I have out now. That's a comic book that's on my Kickstarter page. You can go to Kickstarter and type in Star Angel, Defender of the Universe, and
Yeah.
she is my third character.
Is this one?
That's Agent Era. She's my first character.
Okay.
Her story is in issue 1.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
and
so like what is like what is our end game or story about?
okay, her story. This is her comic book right here.
Okay. Let me well hold on. Yeah.
That's Agent Eris,
All
and she's named after a planet in the Ursa universe.
right.
The planet is called Eris. It's a little
Okay.
teeny tiny planet that orbits uh, Zyratha's sun.
Okay.
And so she is the one, her story is about, she is a, she's the one that kind of kicked off the series.
Yeah.
And you can get her book on my website too, kentecomics.com. But her story is she's the first one from planet Zyratha who came
Sarah.
down to Earth. It's called Zyratha. It sounds like a Z instead of an X. That's how it's pronounced, Zyratha. She comes down to Earth because she gets sent by her emperor, Nordsimo, the leader of the Ursa Defense League. And she gets sent down to the Earth, and she's sent on a mission because the Dark Chiss are the bad, I hate to say aliens, but extraterrestrials um, who come from planet Demo in the Ursa galaxy. And the whole thing that they want to do is take over the Earth, kill everybody, and take our resources because their planet is just, they've messed it up. But
Okay.
they are not, they're humanoid. First of all, she's a humanoid. All my characters are humanoids. They're not human. They're not humans.
Okay.
They're humanoids. Like those people in Avatar.
Okay.
Did you see that movie?
Which one though?
The
The
first,
the Airbender or the blue people
the blue
Avatar.
people with the tails.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what all my characters are from Zyratha. They're all humanoids, and everybody has something about them that makes them different than each other. Like Eris, Agent Eris, She has psychic abilities. She can see
Mm,
into the future. She can heal people, um, so on and so forth. She has her superhero powers.
right.
Then the second one, Firebird. Firebird. She has her. Yeah, there you go. That's Firebird, and she has her superpowers. She can create tornadoes of fire. She could she has excellent tactical skills. She can fight. She has all kinds of things that she can do for her superpowers. And then
Yeah.
the third one that I'm working on now, Star Angel, I'm actually finished with it.
Oh,
Uh
actually, I had the cover. My bad. This is
there
what
you
she was talking about, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And you said Star Angel. I had to
Uh-huh.
just, yeah, I'm on my phone. I have to kind of get the slides ready and stuff. And this is Star Angel.
That's Star Angel. And she has the power to send create blasts that are
Mm,
like for like an atom bomb. They're like an atom bomb. They could blow up a whole entire city. She is real. She's the most powerful member of the Earth's Defense League. And see,
mm,
they all work together as one league, sort of, they're called the Earth's Defense League. They defend their planet.
mm. That's interesting.
Yeah, they're the
So like
defenders.
so like during the pandemic, that's why you like what was the process like for you, like writing these characters and planets?
Well, the process was first, I created my universe.
Yeah.
I created my planet. So I had to think of a way. I said, what do I want my planet to look like? I said, oh, I want it to be green. I want it to be a green planet that's covered with these magic crystals. They're malachite crystals that have
Yeah.
powers. They give the people who live on that planet special powers, in addition to their natural born powers. Everybody on that planet has a power. So anyway, I created the planet first. Then I created the characters. Then I created the characters. And I started with Agent Eris first. She was my first character. And she didn't have like wings or feathers or anything. See, my other characters, they had, because like I said, they're humanoids. They're not human. You
Right.
look at them, you think they're human, but they're not. They kind of look like those avatar people. They kind of look human, but they're really not, you know.
Mm,
And so Agent Eris, she's the only one out of most of them who looks normal. She doesn't have anything, growing outside her neck or
yeah.
down her back, like Firebird has feathers growing down her back. And she feels really self-conscious about her feathers. And her also, you can't touch Firebird because if you do, you'll die
Yeah,
a
I
natural
noticed.
death. You
Yeah,
will
I noticed. I
her,
read, I seen the comic. I actually did a slide. If you don't mind, you could just check it out.
oh sure.
That's just a little sneak peek, just in case,
Yeah, yeah, that's nice. Thank you. Yeah, and
no problem.
yeah, so that's Firebird, and she feels real self conscious about her feathers because she flew too close to this star, Lalande, and her feathers, her suit, her flight suit, uh, melted in with her skin, and as a
Mm,
result, she started growing feathers,
mm.
and she
That's
became
interesting.
yeah. I said, like I do have some good ideas, imagination,
Yeah.
Yes,
So like it says growing up, you was reading your brother's comics and stuff a lot.
I had to read. I had, they didn't have comics really like this when I was growing up, featuring
Right.
little, they didn't have nothing black,
Yeah.
and so I mean, but I still like the other ones too, though, the regular ones.
Yeah.
And I kind of got into my brother's comics because I didn't even realize that my favorite comic was one of his comics called Sergeant Rock and the Howling Commandos. I didn't know
I
that
heard of
was.
that one before.
Do you know that that's a precursor to uh, what's his name in the Marvel comic,
Nick Fury
Captain America? That is
or
Captain
Captain
America.
America?
I
Oh
didn't know
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Oh
yeah. And that comic book I was reading then, that was really the story that was right before Captain America became Captain America. And
oh wow.
and see, I'm a real big Marvel and DC fan, big time.
Mm.
I've seen every movie, you know. And so yeah, so that's all I had to read when I was coming up. That and Batman, Superman, Aquaman, stuff like that. And everything was
Yeah.
like a band, and I was like, you guys don't have anything about it. I was lucky to see something about Wonder Woman, but that was just kind of like, because I didn't buy comics. I just kind of got them from friends, because there was nowhere to
Yeah.
buy comics around our neighborhood. You know,
Yeah.
these
And
it's
where you are? You're from what, Denver or something like that?
I'm from Oakland, California. I was raised
Oh,
basically in Oakland,
okay.
and they didn't
Okay.
have like comic book stores.
No.
No,
Mm.
mm-mm. Oakland
Yeah.
didn't have that kind of stuff. Or they may have had it, but I didn't know about it. And of course,
Oh,
my mother, she wasn't gonna take me to no comic book
yeah.
store. Spend your money on a comic book? No, no.
Wow.
So, I just had to read my brother's. I don't know how he got his.
Yeah.
And so that's how I kind of got into it.
Yeah. Comics was like around me because in New York they have like the newsstands and stuff like that, and you see the comics and stuff. My thing was, you see in the cartoons with Batman, Superman, Iron
Yes,
Man, and stuff like
yes.
that. Yeah, so that it just kind of came to me. But I wasn't like, I wouldn't say like I was like a constant comic book reader like that. I would be on and off. I remember, yeah, there's times that I've taken like courses like School of Visual Arts, and I would write stories and stuff, and that, I think that was like my first comic book I did, like as an alternative comic class. And I did like a story about some guy. He came out of prison and he witnessed like a cop killing murder, a cop killing and stuff like that from these teenagers and stuff. But I
Oh,
ain't finished it. Yeah, I
mhm.
just drew like the layout to it, and then I just drew the person, and then like the kids and all that stuff. But after the class was over, I stopped and I would try to do it, but it would like no ideas wouldn't really come too much like that. I think the last time I did something, it was almost a little similar like yours, but this was like a princess from another galaxy and stuff like that, and she's like a freedom fighter and stuff, and
Uh-huh.
she's wanted. Yeah, she's one. Yeah, she has a bounty on her head and stuff like that. But I ain't finished it though. Yeah, that's how far I would go.
Well, the good thing about that is that at least you had the talent to be able to draw, to make your
Yeah,
character. That's the problem I always had. I didn't know how to draw. I couldn't, even if I wanted to make a comic book
yeah,
of my own, I didn't know how. I didn't know how to
yeah.
draw. And I don't think I had the talent to do that.
How you
You know,
how you get the connections? How you get like the people to draw it? Because I see the artists. Let me show this. This is the gentleman right here that do
uh-huh.
the illustrations.
Yeah.
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 Where was he from?
He's that's Stanley Obende, and he is from Nigeria. And
Oh,
what I
okay.
did is I put a post on comiccreators.com. I mean, comic creators on Facebook.
Right.
And I said, I'm looking for artists to draw my comic book. Anybody interested in the job, let me know. And I
Yeah.
got a million people. I got a lot of people. And I mean some good artists, really, really good. I was like, "Man, I just never wish I wish I could draw, but I just never could do it. I can't do it."
Yeah.
So, but fortunately there are people who are just great who can do that. And
Right.
I was like, wow, I didn't know it was so many people that could do that.
Yeah. I mean, drawing is not easy because, sometimes, for me, I was like in and out of it. Somebody had to kind of like, I would say, like influence me to do certain things because I would always see the kid that's drawing a horse and stuff and it's realistic. And I'd be like, wow, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what like gave me that urge to do it. But then after a while, it'd be like, I don't know where this is taking me and stuff like that. Yeah,
Oh
I mean, it sucks sometimes because it's like you don't know, you're just doing it, and then you don't know where it's going. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but
mhm.
trust me, it's not easy, John,
No,
but
it's
it is
no
an
joke.
advantage. It can be
Mm-mm.
an advantage, but it's not easy. It's not
No, it's not.
easy.
It's hard. That's why you have to hand it to the artist. I have to hand
Yeah,
it to him. That's not easy to do.
yeah.
So I just really appreciate all these great artists out here, and I mean, just all the beautiful work that they do and stuff. And I just kind of think they don't get the recognition that they deserve. They
Right.
really don't. I just wish that I don't know, more people were supportive of the artists, and their
Yeah, I
talent.
mean, like, yeah, because recently on Instagram, I start seeing a lot of black artists really with these comic book series and stuff, and it's interesting too. And you don't really you don't see it like in a
Mm-mm.
nearby newsstand or anything like that. So you see it on social media, Instagram. It's like, wow, like what was the process like for that person to come up with that? And it's interesting, but you don't really see a lot of black creators, whether it's writers or comic book artists, like emerging like in mainstream media, if I could say that. I don't see that too much. Like I'll see like I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say that I don't see it, but because my friend he's a comic book artist too. But it's not like somebody that got their own stuff and like yours, and it's like wow, showcasing that, you know. So
Well, it's the because I'm an indie artist. There's a difference between an independent artist and artists who work for like big companies like Marvel and DC.
yeah,
Um, those are the ones that get their artwork into comic book stores and you know Walmart and Target and so on and so forth. So you almost have to have a big company behind you to get into the main stores. It's just really hard for independent artists to get their work into major outlets like that. So that's I think that's just the name of the game, and so that's why a lot of indie artists they have to be kind of creative when it comes to distributing their work. That like me, for example, I attend comic cons, and
Yeah,
that's how I distribute a lot of my artwork, and of course on my face on my social media, TikTok, Instagram, so on and so forth, and then of course through yeah, that's one of the comic cons I went to. That was a good one too. It was funny, and see when I go to these comic cons, I really love watching all the cosplayers dress up like different characters.
yeah,
I just think that to me that's it's like these comic cons are like a cross between Halloween and a big party.
yeah.
And so I have fun when I'm selling my comics at those and get a chance to meet a lot of the people who read comic books and so on. You know, but that's how you have to distribute. You have to be creative and come up with your own way to do mainly direct sales. That is
Right.
directly from my hand to the reader's hand.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way to do
Yeah.
it for indie comics. I mean, because when you have to deal with a middleman and all these big companies, they take a lot of the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime you're dealing with a middleman, look at Milestone Comics. What happened to them? They were with DC Comics. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
back in the day. You know, and I don't know what went down, but they ended up going out of business. So I
Yeah.
don't.
I think they had a feud with each other, and cause I remember I was seeing this documentary of how they started, and after a while they just had a feud with each other and stuff, and so they went they separate ways and stuff like that. So
Yeah, see, that's the only thing. You know, about working for anybody really. You know, you have to do what they want you to do, write
yeah,
what they want you to write. You can't do your thing, don't do your own thing, what you want to do, your own story, the way you see it, your vision. You know, your vision when you get with somebody else and put them in charge, your vision is not necessarily your vision anymore.
mm, okay,
You know, it can kind of morph into their vision, you
yeah,
know, and your story is not going to be what it originally started out to be. Sometimes sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. And if it doesn't
mm,
turn out, I've seen stories that just whew, turn out to be something completely different than the writer, the author thought it was supposed to
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. I mean, kudos to you. I mean, you know, but I don't see like too many Black American women doing the stuff you doing. Like you're like the first. If I've encountered. I
No, there's
nah
a lot.
I don't know that. I wouldn't know that. I just see black men do it. I don't see too many black women do it. That's the
Well,
thing that kind of
you might not have black women who have their own independent comic book company, but you do
right.
have a lot of black women who are creating comics. They're writers.
I
Like for
didn't.
example, one of my favorite comic book companies has Luna. Luna. I don't know if you ever heard of that comic book, but it's a
Mm,
story about a it's in the future, and she is the author of that um, comic book is a black woman.
right.
Yeah, and so uh, it's not her company per se. Is Concrete Comics that has her books, but she's the one that writes. She's the one that creates the stories.
I
And
didn't
so
I
there
didn't
are,
know that.
yes, yes, there are a lot of women out there, Black women out there who have stories, but they may not, like I said, may have somebody else publishing them for them.
You know, a little bit by mistake. There's a little error. I mean, there was a black woman like in the '80s. She created this action figure. It was similar to He-Man, and it was called Sunman. It was he's like a imitation of He-Man, and what he had like powers of the sun and
Uh-huh.
stuff. And yeah, and I didn't really like obtain the action figure, but I seen the action figure like in a newspaper. And the reason why she came up with it because her son would like He-Man was the hottest thing in the '80s and stuff, and so her son like He-Man, but He-Man wasn't the same complexion as he was. So she just
Okay.
kind of like, hey, let me come up with Sunman. And so
Okay.
it wasn't like a mainstream thing because I think I kind of Googled it up and some people was trying to do something with it. I don't know how far they gonna go with it, but anyway, she the one that came up with it and stuff. But it kind of died out during the '80s, and nobody didn't really heard about it too much. Some people do, but not a lot of people know about that. But that was like the only, I would say, Black American woman that, did something to that I know did something to that effect. I never really like see like you don't really see it that
Yeah.
much. You just don't. Like I interviewed she's not a black woman, but I interviewed another young woman and she does like she writes for Spawn and she wrote for like Marvel and DC and stuff like that. And she was telling
Hmm.
me
Yeah.
how yeah, how she became a writer.
Hmm.
Like she had to like complete like a comic and present it to the DC and the Marvel comic company and stuff, just to like a sample,
Right.
you know. Yeah, so I mean, you know what, I know there's women artists there, but like I don't see like two women like especially black women stand out like that. So,
Well,
that's
now
just me. I don't know.
there's another one too, Midnight Comics. That's a husband and wife team. And the wife writes, she just
Okay.
wrote this really good comic book called The Gray, which is about
Right.
a scientist, a lady who's a scientist. And that's really good. So, I mean, you just have to just really, really look. But
Yeah.
there's some out there. And hopefully this generation of children, they're going to grow up with stuff that we never saw, Black comics, when we were little, when we were their age. These kids
Right.
these days, uh, they're going to be able to see stuff that we didn't get a chance to see.
Yeah.
Black
Well, you
comics.
got you have a guest. His name is all the way George Page. Many female writers and artists had to make pen names cause most publishers didn't think people would buy the books if a woman had wrote it. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
yeah, it's interesting because I never really, I did like Instagram is like the outlet that I seen like black artists and women artists and stuff like that.
yeah.
Outside that, you don't really see that much. It don't showcase it like that. So
Yeah, but they're there. You just have to just kind of really look, scratch the surface, and you'll find them. They're there. A few of them are there.
yeah,
Black women, and women, just women in general. Any woman. So, but it's always been hard for women. And it's compared to men. because like I said, I had to read my brother's comic books when I was coming up.
Yeah.
So, what do? You just deal with what you have.
I mean, what? How do you see the future with Kente Comics?
Well, I'm hopefully it's just a matter of because I'm just kind of I just have this passion to write these stories. And I want to finish this series.
Yeah.
It's expensive, mainly creating a comic book. The major expense comes to pay the authors. I'm not the authors, but the artists, especially if they're really really good. You know, they're the ones who get the lion's share of the money. And so I just have to kind of just keep that in mind while I'm developing my vision, which is, I mean, it goes. It's just you can read my whole vision on my website because it starts
Yeah.
out, but with Zimbaku. I don't know if you read his story about how I created that
No.
character. He's the one who started the Zyratha, the humanoids from
You
the.
don't have like the team though, because I was thinking that because like looking at your Instagram, I thought it was like a women team or something like that. I don't know. Correct me if.
Well, the team that I have is I have my team leader,
Oh,
um
okay.
and I have my artists,
Oh, okay.
and I have myself as the writer,
Okay.
as the author, and basically that's it. And I would like to get somebody to work as the social media person or the um, person who handles marketing. So it's just that's where I'm kind of at now because that's not you know, that's not what I'm really good at. So I need
Right.
to add somebody like that to my team, like a marketing director.
Mm,
Because
okay.
I do know about publishing. I learned how to do
Right.
publishing years ago. So I know how to do
So
that.
like with Kente Publications, it was like you was writing books also.
Yeah. hmm I
Oh.
started out writing books, novels, and
Okay.
yeah, and I was doing that years ago. Uh, like I said, just stories, you know, um,
Oh.
female oriented story, women's fiction. That's what they call it. Love
Oh
stories.
yeah.
And so I just started out like that. And I used to work for this publishing company,
Yeah.
and I learned my skills working there. I learned how to deal with graphic artists, how to deal with editors, how to deal with, the process, all the steps you have to go through from receiving the manuscript to having a finished product, your book. And it was really fun working there. Yeah,
Mm,
I really enjoyed that. But then I didn't realize I was learning valuable skills that I would be able to use in the future.
yeah. Does writing come natural for you, or do you get writer's block or anything like that?
Nah, I kind of just do it. And
Mm,
like when I sort of up with, because I was trying to think of an idea for my next title, because my next
yeah.
book is going to be about one of my characters, Chalawan Uranus, and he's named after a planet too. And
Okay.
he's like a 17-year-old boy um, who was born deformed. He had a clubfoot on planet Zyratha. And his mother threw him into a lake because she was just like, I don't want a deformed baby. She was just. And so these two mermaids were in the lake and they raised him from a baby. They saved his life and raised him. And so when they come out of the water, they have feet. But when they're in the water, they have fish tails. It's sort of like the Little Mermaid story, but in a way. And so they raised Chalawan, but I couldn't think of a title for his story for his book. And so, because he has a crush on Firebird. He
Okay.
loves Firebird, but he can't touch her because her feathers are poison.
Mm,
So they can't really have a relationship, other than just
mhm.
like a deep friendship. But he can't touch her, and so that's one of the problems with Firebird. She can't have a close relationship with anybody, so
She
she has this.
reminds me of. No, I was just saying she reminds me of Rogue from the X-Men. Can't
Of who?
touch her.
Oh
Rogue.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Rogue. Rogue. I think there was another character that's like that, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
But Rogue comes in my mind. Yeah, she every time she touches somebody, she drains the
Yeah.
energy and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, this one is well, Firebird. Anybody who touches her feathers are poison. If
yeah.
you if she uses those feathers in her headdress as darts, whenever she
Mm.
wants to kill somebody, she just throws a feather at them and kills them. And see, that's why I'm so passionate. I just love writing these stories. I really do. I really do. And
You know, that could be a manga movie. Like I could see, yeah, it was this manga movie. It's called Ninja Scroll, and it was like this dude. He's like a wanderer and stuff like that, a super ninja, and he was helping this girl. She was like a agent, and if anybody touches her, they die because she was poisoned and stuff like that.
okay.
So
Uh-huh.
so at the end, I think he had the poison, and so I think she kissed him because she
Uh-huh.
was dying, and
Uh-huh.
so he wasn't poisoned anymore. That's how
Oh,
yeah,
the kiss of death.
yeah. I could see your comic book like a manga movie or something like that. That'd be cool, like to just see that, like an
Yeah, well,
animation or something like that.
I think I wish I knew somebody who knew how to do animation. But animation is hard. I tried to
Yeah,
I tried to download some software to do animation and tried to
yeah.
do a little just one movement. And you had to
Yeah.
go through all this stuff for just your arm to move.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've done it. I've done it. I took in classes. I took like couple of courses. I went to the School of Visual Arts, and the first one I did I did traditional animation, and it was like three months and stuff, and then the other one it was stop motion where this guy he used to work. He used to like be like a I don't know freelancer, but he did like stop motion animation and stuff like that. But he stopped like he did it like in the 90s, and so like when the computer when the computer animation started rising and all that stuff, that's
Mhm.
when he couldn't really find a job, so it was really hard for him, and then he
Oh
was able
wow.
to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this
Yeah.
was like 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
but that stuff is hard. Those
yeah,
people who do that animation stuff, they deserve to get paid good because that's
yeah,
hard work. That is
yeah,
no joke. I mean, it's really hard.
yeah.
And I was
It
like,
is.
okay, I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
I use somebody else. If you don't know how to do something, you just better hire somebody who knows how to do it. That's
yeah.
my.
But do
If
you
you're
know
not.
where to look? Would you know
Hmm?
where to look? Would you know where to look or do it like how you did it with the artists?
Well, I suppose they might have an animators, online on Facebook, maybe even or Instagram or something, and you could just put a post on there looking for her. And but I think I did talk to this one company, and they
Yeah,
wanted so much money just to do like a 3 minute video.
yeah,
Like, why? And that's when I said, well, it's because that stuff is hard.
yeah.
And they wanted all this money. I was like, oh, never mind. Never mind. Thank
Yeah.
you. Nice talking to you.
You got one. Somebody has a question for you. All the way, George Page. Who does Janice admires in the comic book world? That's a good question.
The person I admire is um what's the guy who's the four guys? There was four guys who started what's the name of that comic back in the 70s, that comic company. They were with DC. Um, the one I was
I
talking about
think I
earlier
know.
when we came
Oh,
on.
Milestones.
Milestone. That's my heart right there. And
Yeah,
I'll tell you why, because they came out when it was really nothing for black
yeah,
people. I mean,
right.
it was just really nothing
Yeah,
for people of color back in those days. And I was like, okay, I didn't even know about them. I didn't, because living on the I'm living on the West Coast. You don't hear about stuff that's going on back there sometimes. All this,
right.
all this great stuff going on. And I was like, dang, I wish I would have known about that comic series. Comic book series like the one, Static Shock.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell you the truth,
Yeah.
I knew about it through the cartoon, really.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I've seen their comics, but I don't know. I just never really kind of like look into it like that. And then when I see Static Shock, it kind of like, okay, let me
Hmm.
check this out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
was way ahead of his time. Brother Man was
yeah,
way ahead of his time.
yeah,
And all those other guys, it was like three other ones that worked with, and they were all artists and writers and, you know, all
yeah.
kinds of people. And so, they all worked together as a team to do that. And I just thought that story was just Patrick, is it McDuffie, or his last name is McDuffie?
Mm,
He was the one who started that, and he created this one story that was about this superhero who came back during slavery times. I was like, oh, okay, because I love
mm,
history, and I was like, okay, so what's that all about? And I wish I could just get a copy of that,
yeah,
please. I mean, I don't know where. See, that's the thing. All this time has passed since then, and you're like, where can I get a copy of that from? So I
mm,
could read his story. And so, but that's who I love. That's my heart right there.
mm.
Those four brothers
That's
right there.
interesting.
And one of them is still alive. I'm not sure if the other ones are dead, but one of them is still alive. He's
Yeah.
still, yeah.
You said in the 70s? I thought they came out like in the 90s. Or was
It's
it
the
early?
90s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was back in
Oh.
the
Yeah,
maybe
well, I know what you're talking about. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, like, I like their stories, man. I mean, it's really cool. Who's this guy?
now that is General. I had to change his name to Tomos. I had to change.
Yeah.
He's not a general. He's a lieutenant. He is
Okay.
in exile from planet Zyratha. Him and the general Vatet Ro, who is like the main bad guy character.
Is this
They
him?
That's Vatet Ro.
No?
He's the main bad guy,
Okay, okay,
and he's the brother to the good guy.
okay.
The good guy is Emperor Norsimo. They're
Oh.
brothers, and they're both 500 years old. And
500 years old?
yeah, they're
Okay.
real old, and they've been having this feud with each other since they were boys, because their
Okay.
father preferred one son over the other one. Their father
Oh.
preferred um, uh, Emperor Norsimo over this guy here,
Okay.
Vatat Ro. And Vatat Ro, he never got over it. He always, he just never got over it. He hated his brother, just jealous, plain, just flat out jealous. And he just took it out on him as much as he could. And so they grew up, and Emperor Norsimo knew that because this one here, he loved to fight. Just fight over just any, have you ever met people that just love to fight? Well, he was one of those, these people that just love to fight. And so that's why Emperor Norsimo, he became the emperor of the planet, and he put his brother in charge of the army, the fighting army that protect the universe. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just got a call. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Nah. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Who's this guy?
That's Chalawan Uranus. That's a 17-year-old
Okay.
who's in love with Firebird. And that's the one who was raised by the mermaids. And one of the first things he did, uh, he was kind of found by Emperor Norsimo when he grew up after the mermaids raised him. And Emperor Norsimo took him under his wing and brought him to the Ursa Defense League headquarters and started teaching him about engineering and all that kind of stuff and how to build, advanced weapons and stuff like that. The first thing he built was a bionic or foot
Mm,
for his club foot, because he was disabled. And see, nobody ever writes about disabled people either. What about people
mm,
who are disabled? So anyway, because he's a speedster, but he could never use his speedster super. Uh, he's those. That's one of his characteristics. And so when he made a cyber foot and cybernetic foot, that's when he was able to use his speedster capabilities.
mm. That's interesting. Wow. I mean, this is very fascinating how you come up with these. Now, like anybody, like, what's your reading? What's your like your like how many readers that you like? How many readers that you have? Like, your readers base. What's that's is it just like women or men or?
You know what? Let me tell you something. Mostly men. I tell you that's the one thing. I just put a post last week on Black comic creators on Facebook. And I did a Facebook ad. And I think I came out at 11,315 ads that went to different people. And
Yeah.
come to find out that 35% of the people who responded were men,
Mm,
that ad. And only 3% or 4% were women. I said, okay, you have 35% here, 3% there. How come only 3% of women are responding?
mm,
What I did is I changed the picture. I put a picture of Star Angel on the next ad and said, let me do that and see what happens. Sure enough, it came back. It came back the same, except for it wasn't so far apart. It was just more men than women. So I just really learned a lot, that a lot of
yeah.
people who read my comic books, are men.
To pick, like with the recent what's the name? The recent Marvel movie with the Captain Marvels.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Marvels.
they was talk yeah, they was talking about that and how like they like they it was harsh criticism with that. Like They like people didn't want to see like women superheroes like that. They rather see the men superheroes. So I don't know.
Well, what about
I
Wonder
think
Woman?
I
Wonder Woman could kick butt in her movie.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's like I can't really explain it to you. It just it's really funny. I don't know. It's like the agenda is just pushing. You know, it's I'm not saying yours, but I'm just saying like that agenda of the feminism thing. You know, and that probably where people get turned off by that. You know,
Well,
that's
if they
the
get
only.
turned off by it, why are they buying my books? Because my books are about women, mainly feature
I don't know.
uh, lead character leads, and then you have some men too. You always have Emperor Norsimo and Vatat Ro and all these
Yeah.
other people, and then you have Chalawan Uranus. So you have male characters, but you also have female characters. And if they were so against female characters, why are they reading these comic books? That's what I don't understand.
I don't know. But they because it was harsh criticism with that movie. Like, yeah, they was like butchering that.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's just like you said.
I
It's
mean, but I think I would like to, but I think that the this comic book that I've seen, I think it's really it's kind of it attracted me, because it did had a woman, but it was something that I don't see before. I don't see that. I never seen that. So that's what it stood out for me. So that's 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 the best I could explain.
well, I that's why I just write good story. I try to write just a good story that anybody would like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
hopefully that transcends sex, race, age, all that stuff, and that whoever just wants to read a good story can read a good story.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, as long as the story's good. But I notice it's like it's kind of like it's gender and race and stuff. People just kind of, like, nah, I don't know about that, that type of thing. So, but your story has a great potential. I would like to see it in a movie. You know,
You would? Okay. Well, that's good to know. Well, maybe somebody would like to make it into a movie. I would love to have somebody make it into a movie, uh, and see my characters. Because I wish I could find a Firebird
yeah.
cosplayer. Because I
Who
just
would you
think
want?
who
No,
who
who would you want? Who would you want to see as Firebird? That's an actress now.
as Firebird.
Yeah,
Um, I was thinking about that one day, and well, there's a couple of people. Um, I can't think of the girl's name, but she's a younger, very young, but she like 20, and I think I have to think of her name. I can't think of her name, but there's a lot of good actresses out there now. A
mm,
lot of good ones,
okay.
especially on BET. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I stopped watching BET for a while. I think like the last time I seen BET, I think the Breakfast Club. That that that's what I seen.
Charlemagne.
Yeah, yeah. Haven't really watched BET in a while. So,
Hmm.
but I really appreciate you, giving me the time to explain, your comic because it was really fascinating me. Yeah,
Thank you. I'm glad you like
yeah,
it. I'm
yeah.
glad.
No doubt. Yeah, I would like to purchase more. Like, do you have like a Cash App or anything like that, or they go to Kente Comics?
They just go to Kente Comics, and they did find out that it was something on the back end with that situation.
Oh, okay,
So they fixed it.
okay.
But yeah, you just go to Kente Comics and you could order all of my comic books from there. And yeah, so and I wish people would kind of course, kind of people who read the comics, they don't do reviews, and that's fine. You don't have to
Yeah,
review it. But I'd like to know what you think about. Well, maybe this character should, you know, or could you make a character that does this, or maybe this character could do that. Just I'd like to get people's feedback once they read the stories and
right.
see my vision and see where I'm going with this and see what they think. It'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah, I think you want to me with that. Yeah, it's very interesting. I never came across that. I was like, wow, I would like to talk with somebody that deals with that stuff. Yeah, that it's very. It caught my interest.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad it did. I'm glad it did. And it's so nice to
Yeah,
be here with you today with your
right.
podcast.
But thank you for giving me the opportunity and your patience dealing
You
with me.
are so welcome. You're welcome. KLA the Wanderer. You are very welcome.
All right. All right, folks. Let's see you later.
Okay, bye. Have a good
Bye.
one. Happy holidays.